Have you ever come across a point that challenges completely your perception of any topic? What I mean by this question is, have you ever been challenged completely in what you believe, to the point that there's evidence that proves that what you've believed is completely wrong? This is what happened when I started reading this book, The Brain That Changes Itself, by Dr. Norman Deutsch. The Brain That Changes Itself has 427 pages, has 12 chapters and 2 appendices. Let me read you one of the quotes. We learn that our thoughts can switch our genes on and off, altering our brain's anatomy. The topic, like the quotes mentions, is neuroplasticity. What is neuroplasticity? Neuroplasticity is the ability that the brain has to change itself. Now, for years, it's been thought that the brain had one function and one place for each memory saved there, correct? And that's what we were taught when we were young. That's what we believed. That's what we've read for the rest of our lives, or for the past of our lives. But within the last 25 years, there's been accidents, there's been problems and diseases that have made the scientists research and do experiments into the area on the brain that have not purposefully led to conclusions that the brain does not have one place for one function. This is neuroplasticity, the ability of the brain to reorganize itself. I'm going to read to you the topics of the chapters. The first one is plasticity of our senses. Fortifying the brain and its functions is the second one. The third one is redesigning the brain and its structure. The fourth one, neuroplasticity and sexual attraction and love. Continues with the fifth one, neuroplasticity in therapy for stroke victims. The sixth one, plasticity used to treat worries, obsessions, compulsions, and bad habits. Chapter number 6, pain as a disadvantage of neuroplasticity. Chapter number 7, imagination. Thinking makes it so. Chapter 8, neuronal stem cells and lessons for preserving our brains. Chapter 9, an example of how radical the plastic change can be in the brain. I won't mention the rest of the chapter titles, but I want to tell you some of the events that happened in the book that completely convinced me that the brain has the ability to change itself. And it talks about one lady that was born, and the doctor said everything was normal until she was about 2-3 years of age. And they started doing studies on her and studies on her and studies on her. This is in the mid-80s, so the technology wasn't really advanced. And it got to the point where at around 12, they decided to do a brain scan. And they found out something incredible. She only had one hemisphere on her brain. And yes, even though she had some learning disabilities and some disadvantages in the way she spoke, in the way she thought, she still had the rest of the functions completely normal. Why is that? I believe it is because God had put in the most miraculous machine or creation that He made, our brains, the ability of us to change from glory to glory into something better. I recommend this book because it has not only opened my mind into a new field of neuroplasticity and into a new mindset that not everything is set in stone, but it has also taught me of how marvelous and wonderfully we are made by God. Thank you very much.